I'm a managing partner here at Zia Consulting. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. Just as a quick start here, we'll let you know we are recording this session, and we will make sure to make the slides and demonstration video that we're going to show you today available to you. You should receive a follow-up email after the session. Wanted to welcome our friends from BlackBerry today, and we'll talk a little bit about the relationship and the partnership, and then I'll pass that all over to William here in a few minutes. So it may be a quick bit of background about how we came together. Those of you who are on the line here and are familiar with Zia Consulting know us to be a solution provider and systems integrator around content solutions broadly. And we strive to be an organization that creates those solutions with our customers using best-of-breed technologies. And in doing so, we work with a wide variety of content technologies, obviously repositories and assorted related technologies. We've had a wide variety of dialogue, everybody from CISO individuals down to line level individuals with questions and comments on how we address secure collaboration. And that ultimately encouraged us to seek a new best-of-breed partnership and technology, and we arrived at the conclusion that the BlackBerry Workspaces technology was the best fit for us. Along that journey, we also have cultivated a joint customer using, in our case, the Alfresco repository in combination with the BlackBerry Workspaces product successfully. They were quite happy, and several joint opportunities that we're working on. And we found the technology to be very mature, very robust, obviously addressing the specific needs that our customers and our prospects are concerned about. But I think even more importantly, a solution that we've been able to integrate into the broader content solution sets that Zia is known for bringing to our customers. And so we're very excited about the relationship. I think it's fair to say it's a somewhat new partnership with a lot of excellent potential and some existing success. So with that, I think I'll go ahead and hand off here to William Graham. William is the Director of Technical Solutions at BlackBerry for Workspaces. Today, he's going to share with us, I believe, 3 use cases, and then we'll see a quick demonstration of the solution. So with that, thank you, William.
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm William Graham. I'm the Director of Technical Solutions for BlackBerry. I'm based out of Denver, Colorado. And what I'd like to do today is 3 things. I'd like to give you a broad overview of the Workspaces solution, how it gets installed, how it gets accessed, and perhaps most importantly, what it does for your enterprise. Then we're going to review a few use cases about real-world business needs and how Workspaces was able to add value to those enterprises. And finally, we're going to play a canned demo of the solution in action. And of course, I'll take all of your questions. So let's begin. This next few slides is a short deck that I provide to new engineers that sort of answers the question, how is Workspaces installed? How do my users get at the solution? And most importantly, what does it do? So I use this simple mnemonic, the 3, 4, 5 triangle, to sort of orient the solution in space to help answer those questions. Workspaces can be installed 3 different ways. You can get at it 4 different ways. And once those 2 things are accomplished, it takes down 5 different functional categories. When it comes to installing Workspaces, BlackBerry has a managed service cloud, and we can host the entire thing in our cloud. Of course, you can install the entire solution down on your premises in your data center, or we can do a little bit of both. We can keep the application control plane up in our cloud and let you keep the data down in your data center. In this way, BlackBerry is able to provide the industry's most flexible architectural solution set. Some of my competitors will let you put the solution up or let you put the solution down. We have a very, very flexible set of installation options that we're quite proud of. Once the solution is installed, we have a number of ways that you can get at the solution, and it speaks to the ubiquitousness and the stickiness of the solution. You can get at it wherever you are. So Workspaces makes a HTML5 browser, a simple web portal. We also have desktop clients for Mac and Windows. We have mobile clients for BlackBerry, iOS, and Android. Finally, BlackBerry makes a plugin for the Microsoft Outlook email experience so that you can bring Workspaces functionality to your unstructured data sharing. Okay, once I've got it installed, once I know how to get at it, what does it do? At its core, Workspaces is a very secure enterprise file sync and sharing system. You can remember the mnemonic MESAs to remember the basic 5 things that it does. There's a very large mobility component to Workspaces. We believe that you should be able to get at your files, do your job, add value to those files regardless of where you are. In the back of a taxi cab, sitting in the airport, in a hut in Fiji with no Wi-Fi signal, it doesn't matter. You should be able to get at those files and do what you need to do regardless of where you are. First and foremost, Workspaces is a security solution. So in that spirit, we believe it's very important to provide all of the tools that you need to add value to your files without incurring the risk of opening the solution to many third-party apps. So toward that end, we provide a robust set of tools for you to work with your files. There's an embedded editor, there's an annotation engine, there's a social media platform, and on, everything in a homogeneous solution so that you can stay put inside your secure sandbox and do what it is that you need to do. Synchronization, of course, is table stakes. My son has a wristwatch that synchronizes files these days, but our synchronization solution is very secure and it's very flexible. We'll let you pick and choose the sets of files that you want to synchronize. We'll give you control over the bandwidth consumption, file size, time of day, on and on. Auditing and reporting is huge for BlackBerry Workspaces. If any of you have to answer to auditors, if any of you would like to sleep a bit more soundly at night knowing that your brand and your intellectual property is secure, I think you're going to like the auditing and reporting features that BlackBerry Workspaces provides. In short, it lets you easily and accurately get your head around the question that's very easy to ask, but very difficult to answer. Who's doing what with my intellectual property right now? Finally, there's a sharing component. Very few files live in a vacuum. We typically need to share those files with others, both internally and externally. The BlackBerry Workspaces solution allows you to do that quite easily, but with one important difference. We allow you to retain a tether on those files and to control what things your collaborators are allowed to accomplish after you share with them and how long they're allowed to do it. So for example, perhaps I'll let you download the file but not print it for a week. Or perhaps I'll let you download and print it but not edit it for a month. Very flexible digital rights management solutions that you can tailor to meet your business needs. Okay, let's take a look at some use cases. My apologies. Let's take a look at a few use cases that Workspaces was able to provide some value. One of the largest verticals that we service is the insurance vertical. And that vertical has some common use cases. Mobile productivity, their agents are often on the road. They're often traveling to customer sites. So mobility is quite important. PII, personally identifiable information and the security and protection of that information is paramount. There are huge legal repercussions, of course, and brand repercussions if personally identifiable information were to get out. The need to secure and share legal information between third parties, between the headquarters enterprise and broker-dealer companies, between external legal counsel, marketing firms, all of these things are common to the industry. One of those customers was MetLife. I'm sure you recognize the brand. And they had some very simple but very complex business requirements. They have about 2,500 agencies that regularly undergo auditing. And some of the things that the auditors look for is, did you share the latest and greatest account information or policy information with your customers? They have a need to collect personally identifiable information from their customers and secure that in a very controlled fashion. And they didn't have any standard process for sharing files. And this happens quite a lot when there is no enterprise standard. What happens is we get a lot of shadow IT programs that crop up in the organization, and we begin using third-party tools that suit us, Dropbox and files across email and sending things to our Gmail account and on and on and on just to get our job done. So the core audience for MetLife were their auditors, their audit managers, their sales managers, and their independent agents. All of these groups of people had different needs, and Workspaces was able to take them to take those use cases down quite eloquently. So we were able to provide secure sharing mechanism and control over their collection of their users' data. As you can imagine, there's simply a ton of personal information that's collected when in the process of issuing an insurance policy, health information, income information, on and on and on. We were able to provide MetLife with a very secure mechanism for collecting, storing, and sharing that information. And the other large benefit that we were able to provide is the ability to track all of that information and track who was accessing that information so that auditors could be assured that only need-to-know populations were accessing the information and that it wasn't escaping the borders of their enterprise. Let's do one more in the technology and manufacturing vertical. Technology and manufacturing very often is about securing intellectual property that differentiates you in the market, your patents, your designs, the core information that makes your business stand apart from your competitors. In the use case that we'll see, there's another common requirement, which is the ability to share that information securely while minimizing the risk when I have to deal with third parties. Very often, manufacturers will employ third-party manufacturers who don't have a loyalty concern after their contract expires. So we have a very simple question. How do I secure the intellectual property with this manufacturer while my contract is in force, and then make sure that that manufacturer no longer has access to it after the business relationship ends? And that very simple use case is duplicated hundreds and hundreds of times a day over many, many, many verticals. It's a very common core use case. How do I share my business? How do I share my intellectual property when the business relationship is enforced? And how do I make sure that that intellectual property is no longer available when the business relationship ends? Nike was just such a customer. Everybody knows Nike. They're the world's leading innovator in athletic shoes, and they had many of the requirements that I've just discussed. They needed to protect intellectual property that were sent to independent factories in Southeast Asia. These included very, very sensitive intellectual property blueprints for their sneakers. They had to send manufacturing instructions, very many of which included not only intellectual property about the shoes or footwear itself, but manufacturing innovations that they wanted to retain after their relationship with that third-party manufacturer terminated. And they had a number of other business requirement documents, quality assurance documents, those sort of things that they needed to control. Previously, Nike would send PDF files to the third-party manufacturers. They would print them out en masse and have many, many copies at each workstation in the assembly line. And then what Nike determined was that after that manufacturing contract expired, it was about 6 weeks later that they would start seeing knockoffs appear in various stores and kiosks all over Southeast Asia. And that was because that manufacturer would simply take those PDF files and sell them to the highest bidder. Workspaces was able to put an end to that. What Nike did was simply install large monitors above each workstation and then present a view-only copy of the blueprint. And then when the relationship terminated, the contract expired, they simply revoked access to that group for those documents, and there was no longer any physical evidence lingering of their intellectual property. Okay, I think Emily has a demo set for us. Please send your questions along in the chat, and we'll answer them in due course. Thank you so much.
Hi, thanks for stopping by. I'm William Graham, Director of Technical Solutions for BlackBerry, and today I'd like to give you a super quick drive-by demonstration of the Workspaces Enterprise File Sync and Share solution. We're going to see how we create a new workspace, how we can add content to that workspace, how we can share content with others both internally and externally, how we can track activities for the files that we share, and finally, how we can revoke those files when access is no longer needed. The basic organizational unit in the Workspaces solution is the workspace. You can think of a workspace as a file folder or a subdirectory where you can organize files that go together. You can arrange workspaces by employee, by department, by line of business, by product, by project, however you like. To create a new workspace, you simply hit the New Workspaces button and provide a name. Now that you have a new workspace, the first task is to add content to it. You can do that in a number of ways. You can either open the workspace and use the Upload button. You'll get a file picker, select the file that you want to add, and the file will begin uploading to the Workspaces server. You can notify members of the groups that you've shared this workspace with that a new file has arrived. You can provide a message to them. And it's that simple. Workspaces also supports drag and drop. So simply open up your File Explorer, grab a number of files, and drag them into the workspace. And there they are. To share a workspace with someone inside or outside your organization, simply select the workspace and choose Share. All you need is an email address. Now select their role. By default, you can nominate a collaborator to be a visitor or a contributor. The difference is pretty simple. Contributors have the right to upload, delete, modify the content of a workspace, including its structure like subdirectories, whereas visitors can essentially look but not touch. If they have download privileges, that's fine, but they can't change the name of subdirectories, they can't delete the original files, they can't rename the files, etc. Select the permission that your collaborator will have to the files inside the workspace. You can give them full access. You can give them view-only rights, whereby they can only look at the file on the workspace's secure browser. Or you can give them some permutation of privileges in between those two choices. For example, you might allow them to download the file but not edit it, or download, edit, and print but not copy. These privileges are dynamic, so that if the business need changes, you simply come back here and select a different set of privileges. You can choose how long your collaborator will have access to the workspace and the files inside of it. You can say that they can always have access and the files will never expire. You can provide a specific date. Maybe the project will end on the 30th of the month, or you can provide some relative amount of time, a week, a month, or a year. Workspaces provides a dynamic watermark that will be present when the collaborator views the document on their browser or prints it out. You can turn this watermark on or off. The watermark is configurable, so you can include information like the user's name, their IP address, their email address, or some static content such as confidential, do not distribute. Finally, Workspaces has a social media sort of platform where users can comment on individual files. This privilege is designated here. You can turn it on or off. After you've filled out the permissions, the role, the file expiration, etc., simply hit Share. And now your workspace is shared. Okay, let's take a look at what the recipient's experience might happen to be after a Workspaces file or a Workspaces container is shared. I'm signed into my Gmail account, Sci-Fi Guy, which you'll recall I shared Workspace a moment ago. And you'll see I have a new email that William Graham has shared a workspace with me. Here's the message, please review, and I'm given a link to the workspace. I'll click that link. I'm authenticated, and here's the workspace. Here's the files that are contained inside, and you'll see that as a contributor that was given view-only visitor rights, I can do a very limited number of things with these files. I can view them. That's it. Compare and contrast that with the content owner. Now I'm here as the content owner, William Graham. You'll see that I can do quite a number of things. I can view, download, send a copy, delete. But because of the DRM and permissions that I've placed on the file, as the recipient, I'll move back now to Sci-Fi Guy. As the recipient, I can only view this file. So let's see what that looks like. You'll see that the watermark is displayed very prominently, that the document renders quite crisply, and most importantly, my ability to download, print, or share this file is grayed out. I can only do with this file what the content owner has allowed me to do. Now, what the content owner giveth, the content owner can taketh away. It's one of the very powerful features of Workspaces. Anytime my business relationship changes, I can revoke the permissions and the access to any workspace or any file in the system. So if I click on the workspace that I've just shared with Sci-Fi Guy, I'll come here to the Permissions tab. And number one, I'll see a list in real time of all the people who have access to this workspace and what their permissions might happen to be. To revoke access, I simply click on a user or a group of users and choose Revoke Access. The permissions have been changed, and now if I go back into my email as Sci-Fi Guy, and I try and open up this document again, you'll see that I no longer have permission to access this workspace. Now let's take a look at another very powerful feature of the Workspaces solution. One of the most powerful things that I can do with the system is understand at any given time who's doing what with my intellectual property. So here we are in the Workspace Project 832. I'll select a file and then come to the File Activities tab. And we see a number of important things. We see a geographic representation of where activity has occurred. We see the last few activities that have occurred on the file, who did them, what did they do, when and where. And then I can come to the full log and see a very robust report about everything that's ever happened over the life of this file. It was uploaded, someone added a recipient, someone opened the file, a recipient was revoked, as well as all the biographical data you would expect: when, where, the IP address, etc., the email address of the user. So this is a terrific feature for understanding who's doing what with your files, so that you can rest easy at night. Finally, while we've been working exclusively in the Workspaces web portal, there are a number of other ways to access the solution. For example, BlackBerry makes a Microsoft Outlook plugin so that you can bring all of the functionality of Workspaces into your inbox. Here I've prepared a message with an attachment, and I want to secure that attachment. I simply choose the Protect Attachments button that appears when the plugin is installed. And now I can set all of the DRM permissions, watermarking, file expiration, and so forth right from my inbox. BlackBerry also offers a thin client for the desktop for both Windows and Mac that not only allows you to access most of the functionality I've demonstrated today, but also allows you to synchronize the files down to your desktop. You can select which workspaces are important to you, and then every time the Workspaces system is updated, those new file versions will be pulled down to your desktop. You can also share, protect, and investigate file activities right from the desktop. BlackBerry also offers mobile clients for BlackBerry, iOS, and Android. Thanks for watching today. Please visit us at www.blackberry.com.
All right. Wanted to thank William for his use case discussion and demonstration today. I think we're at our time, so we'll follow up with Q&A. I believe we've got a log of questions, so we'll respond to you directly with any that you may have raised. Everyone who has joined us today will get an email from us again tomorrow with a link to the recording, the slides, the demo, and other appropriate additional resources. We're certainly, again, always happy to have a follow-up conversation with you via email or phone or otherwise offline. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us directly or reply directly to the email that you will receive tomorrow. And similarly, take a look at the BlackBerry page, either theirs directly or via our website. And after that, I'll just say thank you again for joining and hope you all have a great rest of your day.